Hey y'all, this is Amber Sherman. I am the Tennessee lead organizer, and we're going to talk about what's going on with xAI in Memphis and how you can help us to stop it. So, I'm going to give folks a little bit of time to come in, and then I'm going to talk through the timeline of xAI and what's been happening here, how they were able to sneak in and do this project without any kind of public input, and then what the current action steps are going to be. So give folks a little time to come in. So for folks who are just joining, my name is Amber Sherman. I am the lead organizer in Tennessee for Black Voters Matter. And we're talking about ways that you can stop the xAI project that's happening in Memphis right now. We are being plagued with xAI buying up buildings left and right to expand their supercomputer project, and it's got to stop. A lot of folks have been asking, like, how were they able to do this? What made it so easily for them to come in and just buy up all these properties? And I'm going to go through that timeline. So, first, the Memphis Chamber of Commerce actually led this project. So, the Memphis Chamber of Commerce actually put together the partnership with xAI, and they put out this press release that says velocity meets potency. xAI announces Memphis as new home. So the current president of the Chamber of Commerce here in Memphis, his name is Ted Townsend. They put out this, press release saying that xAI is bringing a gigafactory here for their supercomputer, and that he partnered with them. And in less than 3 weeks, the Chamber's economic development team demonstrated remarkable coordination, swiftly providing solutions and rallying partners faster than any other community. From the initial 3 weeks until today, Memphis has emerged as a global nexus where velocity meets potency, which are attractive attributes for the xAI team. So just to go back here, the Chamber of Commerce partnered with xAI and brought folks into the room like MLGW, had them sign NDAs, would not tell them what the project actually was, and then they announced this project to the world. Normally, if someone wants to come in and buy up land for a project, then they have to go through our city council. So our city council will approve or deny the land zoning permit for them to either operate properties there and also to buy the property. But that's not what happened here. The Chamber of Commerce, led by Ted Townsend, helped them to circumvent this process with a loophole that currently exists in our land use control board that says if someone is using a property in the industrial zone, they don't have to follow that same process, which I could understand if they were using a property in the industrial zone that wasn't polluting the air, but this is polluting the air. So we're going to go through another part of the timeline. Not only is this polluting the air, but elected officials have lined up to champion the project. So in that first initial announcement, Mayor Lee Harris says, historic opportunities like this are born of strong partnerships. And I'm delighted that the Shelby County government, through our health department and Memphis and Shelby County Office of Planning and Zoning, has played a significant role. Then the president and CEO of MLGW, Doug McGowan, says, I am proud of our work to provide utilities for such a massive project and to do it quickly. The adaptive reuse of a former manufacturing space and its existing utility infrastructure are exactly the kind of economic development that we have been seeking for our city. And he's talking about the Electrolux building that's now currently holding the supercomputer. So they repurposed the building. Electrolux was a company here, and now they're using that building for the supercomputer, but they're also expanding. And then Mayor Young says, Memphis is a city of innovators, so it's no surprise that it feels like home to those looking to change the world. Interesting. We get things done here, and we have great partnerships at the Greater Memphis Chamber and MLGW who are ready to make this happen. We had an ideal site ripe for investment, and we had the power of our people who created new and innovative processes to keep up with the pace required to land this transformational project. What he's referring to is that they have taken like different approaches within the land use control department to make sure that when someone is applying to like buy land or something like that, the process is a lot quicker, because people were trying to buy businesses here and saying that the process takes a very long time. So after that, the Chamber of Commerce then announced an expansion. And all of this was very interesting because every time something happened in the media with xAI, it wasn't the news reporting it, it wasn't our city government reporting it, it wasn't even local like media. It was always the Chamber of Commerce, which also should show you that the Chamber of Commerce had a huge role in this and has continued to play a role in what we're calling a huge issue in polluting our air. So after they expanded the project, people have been speaking out about this. Different environmental groups have been speaking out about it, but it's not being taken seriously. And so we want folks to know what's actually happening at xAI. And one of the worst things that could happen is polluting the air, right? And they are using gas turbines on the property that xAI has. I'm going to show y'all a video actually of what the property looks like, because a lot of people don't even know what it looks like. We haven't even had a chance to see it. Those are the methane gas turbines right over there. And all of that nasty pollutant they're putting into the air is where the air looks really hazy. I'm also going to put in some clips from the... So towards the middle of the screen where I was pointing, those are gas turbines that are being used at the property. They have 15 gas turbines that they do not have permits for. They have never had permits for them this entire time, and nothing is being done. They haven't been penalized in any way. They're just allowed to keep operating. I'm going to show another video of the other side of the building. So on the other side of the building, those are more gas turbines. So they have about 15 at the property that are polluting the air every single day. They've been operating these, what they're calling temporary gas turbines, since last year in June when they bought the original property. So this entire time they've been polluting the air. They haven't done anything to make sure that, you know, folks are feeling included in the process. All they're doing is trying to make as much money as they can. And that's just not okay. So we're asking folks to join us in helping to stop the xAI takeover of Shelby County. They have bought another 1 million square foot property in South Memphis with no community and no public meeting. We're fighting against massive air pollution, zero transparency, environmental racism, and corporate greed. Sorry, I think my computer froze. So our demands are for the Shelby County Health Department to deny xAI's methane gas permit. So they put in permits for temporary methane gas turbines at their property when they first moved in. But since then, they've actually submitted another permit request for permanent gas turbines, which is just unacceptable. According to local news, xAI has submitted an application for an air permit from the Shelby County Air Pollution Control Program. And that application is currently under review by the Shelby County Health Department and the EPA Region 4. The Shelby County Health Department Air Pollution Control is reviewing the application to determine if the turbines conform with EPA regulations, and there's no set timeline for approval. So that process, though, is happening through the health department, and that was the statement that they put out when they were questioned about, you know, why they were continuing to do this. The permits would allow for 24/7 usage of the 15 natural gas turbines, which are using methane gas. And documents obtained also show that it includes operating permit applications for each of the 15 individual methane gas turbines, and those applications are dated as far back as November 2024. The turbines have a controlled and uncontrolled emissions output of hazardous air pollutants of 11.51 tons per year for both categories, according to the application they filled out. And the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has a cap of 10 tons per year on hazardous air pollutants for a single source, or 25 tons per year for hazardous air pollutants that use multiple sources. These turbines are supposed to be using multiple sources, but I think it's important to remind folks that the emission figures in the application were provided by CTC Properties, which is the company that's operating for xAI here in Memphis, and none of that information has been verified. They haven't had to prove any of it. There hasn't been any studies done. We keep being told that studies are being done, but none have actually happened, and that's the real issue here. I also want to show y'all some actions you can take right now because, like I said before, they've been operating here this entire time and nothing has happened. So here's ways that you can take action right now. You can actually email Shelby County commissioners and tell them to listen to community voice and pass the resolution that requires the Shelby County Health Department to hold a public meeting to give community members a voice on the issue. And we've made it super easy for you. You can go to bit.ly/stop xAI, all lowercase, and it'll take you over to a Action Network link where you can just send the emails immediately. You can also call Mayor Lee Harris. So our county mayor, Mayor Lee Harris, he can instruct the health department to act. He can instruct them to deny the permits, and he hasn't. He sat on the sidelines. Like I said earlier on, he made that quote about how this is a great project, and the Shelby County Health Department has been leading on the issue, and that's it. That's all he's done. And we need him to stop sitting on the sidelines and act right now. So you can call him at 901-222-2000 and tell him to act and instruct the health department to deny the methane gas turbine permits for xAI. He has the power to do it, and he needs to do it now. You can call them every day during the weekday from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So they're open right now. I encourage folks, hop off this live and go call them right now. 901-222-2000. There's going to be a nice black lady that's going to answer the phone and tell you that you've reached the office of the mayor, and then you want to ask her, hey, can I leave a message for Mayor Lee Harris? You can provide your information for a callback, but just say, hey, I want the mayor to deny the permits for xAI's methane gas turbine permits. He needs to instruct the health department to act, and they'll take that message for you, and we need as many people to call as possible. And then we're also doing some local phone banking. One of our partners here in Memphis, the Memphis Communities Against Pollution org, is an environmental justice organization here, and they need volunteers. So you can go to bit.ly/MCAP volunteer to sign up as a volunteer for phone banks that we have, canvases, and then we're also having an event on March 22nd at 2 p.m. with Mayor Young. So Mayor Paul Young is going to be having a fireside chat with Keyshawn Pearson, who is the president of Memphis Communities Against Pollution. And I think that it's really important if you're in Memphis that you come and ask questions, because everyone needs to be held accountable. Although the mayor didn't secure the deals, it was the Chamber of Commerce. He hasn't stopped them from doing more. And the damage that's being done to our communities is critical. Like, that air is being polluted every single day. Every single day. For folks who didn't see, I'm going to play it again because I actually went to the xAI site. The other side of the building, because there's even more. So you can actually see those are the methane gas turbines right over there. And all of that nasty pollutant they're putting into the air is where the air looks really hazy. If you're looking at the screen, right where it looks really hazy going across, that's because it's putting out pollution into the air. And it smells horrible by this facility. I went to xAI yesterday and filmed these videos so people can actually see what the pollution looks like, because a lot of folks don't even know what the xAI site looks like. They don't know what's happening there. They're just, seeing what's happening in the news, and they don't agree with it, of course, because we haven't been able to put our own community input in, but they don't know what's actually happening or what it looks like. So I wanted people to see how much pollutants were being put out into the air just from about 5 gas turbines on that one side. And then I went to the other side, and on the other side, there's even more. I'm going to actually pull up a second video that I recorded because I showed that a little bit earlier, but I know some people have dropped in recently, so I want to make sure y'all can see that too. So I actually took a video of the other side, and you can see that's the facility, but at the beginning, those are the gas turbines. So all of those turbines right there are putting methane gas pollutants out into the air. Those are hazardous air pollutants going out into the air every single day, 24/7. Those turbines are running 24/7 because the supercomputer is running 24/7. So the supercomputer that's being housed in that facility by xAI is their AI tool that powers Grok, which is the chat GPT of xAI. And they're using it to, power this Grok tool that people are using. So it has to be running 24/7 because, people are using it 24/7. But that also means that our air is being polluted 24/7. And we shouldn't be the sacrificial lamb for xAI. Elon Musk doesn't get to come into our communities and buy up all the land and do whatever he wants and then not be held accountable. That's not okay. And so that's why we're asking folks to take action right now. You can take action right now. We're going to want to post up the call to action so folks can see it. And you can take that action right now. So you can email Shelby County Commissioners and tell them to listen to our community voice and pass a resolution requiring the Shelby County Health Department to hold a public meeting to give community members a voice on the issue. And that can be sent through bit.ly/stop xAI, all lowercase. I think I froze for a second, so I'm going to give it a second to catch up. It's frozen. Okay, we're back. I don't know why it was frozen for so long. Let's see. All right, so just want to go through some other things about why we want to stop the xAI takeover here in Shelby County. So we are fighting against massive air pollution. There was zero transparency in this process. This is obviously environmental racism and corporate greed because this project is being led by the Memphis Chamber of Commerce, who are touting how this is such a big deal because of all the economic development is bringing to our communities. But why would we want economic development that deteriorates people's health in South Memphis? That's not economic development that I want. Why can't we have economic development that improves our communities like all the way around? Why is it that someone always has to be a sacrificial lamb for us to have economic development? That's not okay. So we're really pushing folks to take action by one, calling Mayor Lee Harris. He is the current Shelby County mayor, and he can instruct the health department to act. So those methane gas turbines that are operating right now on xAI's property, he can tell the health department to deny those permits. He has that power. He's refusing to use it. So we need folks to call Mayor Lee Harris at 901-222-2000 and tell him to act and instruct the health department to deny the methane gas turbine permits that are currently already operating illegally at the xAI site. That's the biggest issue. The turbines are already like literally being used every single day. They're polluting our air every single day, and nothing is being done about that. And that's the huge issue. And not only that, but they've also bought another facility. So just this past Friday, they actually announced that they have expanded the project. So not only are they polluting our air, but they're also going to expand the pollution of our air by buying up another property, this time in Whitehaven, to expand the current project. So they talked about in December, the Chamber of Commerce held a luncheon where they talked about how they were going to be expanding the xAI project, but they didn't add any details. So this past week, they announced that xAI's acquisition of this property ensures we'll remain at the forefront of AI innovation right here in Memphis, stated by Brent Mayo from xAI. He there's also a quote here from Ted Townsend and said, "This is a significant expansion by xAI that reinforces Memphis's position as a premier destination for technological innovation." So all of this is being pitched in a way of how, this is so good for Memphis because this makes us, the digital delta is what they're calling it, that we're inventing the new digital delta, and that this is going to make this a prime area for technological advancement and tech companies to come here. I don't want to be the next Austin, Texas. I don't want Memphis to be the next Austin, Texas. Have you seen what's happening in Austin with xAI? Because it's not good. There's stuff blowing up. Things aren't operating the way they should. And I don't want that for our communities. Every single day that those methane gas turbines are operating, they're polluting our communities. And that's not okay. So I'm doing this live so that people know what's happening in Memphis, because a lot of folks have been asking, well, what's going on with xAI? Why don't people want it there? We don't want it here because we didn't ask for it. And right now, currently, our air is being polluted every single day, and nothing's being done to stop it from being polluted. And so we're asking folks to take action right now by calling Mayor Lee Harris. The number is 901-222-2000, and tell him to act. Our county mayor, Mayor Lee Harris, has the power to instruct the health department, which is under Shelby County government, to deny the permits for the methane gas turbines. They have been operating these turbines at this property at xAI, but they haven't had permits for them the entire time. They've been illegally operating them this entire time and not being held accountable. And that's the real issue here. One, you're polluting our community. Two, you don't have permission to do so. And three, you don't care about community voice. And that's not okay. So if folks are just joining, my name is Amber Sherman. I'm the lead organizer here in Tennessee, specifically in Memphis. And I'm talking about the xAI supercomputer project that just was launched here last year, that just recently, as of Friday, is being expanded, and how it's polluting the air in Memphis. So there are several concerns about having a supercomputer. One, supercomputers use 1 million gallons of water a day. Memphis uses an aquifer for our water, and we're known for having some of the best water in the world because of our aquifer. And the main concern when they came here was that this is going to be using our water from our aquifer and draining it. And so to respond to that, the city worked with xAI to help them purchase a water reuse facility that's going to be using recycled water. So that was one concern that was taken care of. They're going to be using recycled water by the end of the year and no longer using our aquifer. But they're still polluting the air every single day. There's methane gas turbines. I'm going to show another video of that. There's methane gas turbines on that property that are to the left. And I'm going to show another video of the other side of the building, because I actually went on both sides of the building, because I think it's also important that, because the local news isn't reporting on this, that someone is. And I don't mind it being me. So I went down there. Methane gas turbines right over there. And all of that nasty pollutant they're putting into the air is where the air looks really hazy. I'm also going to put in some clips from the other side. So where the air looks really hazy, right in the middle, you can see like the air is literally actively being polluted. And when I was down there, it smells horrible. Like it smells like something has died. That was one of the real harassment that I felt going down there, was like just having my nose harassed by the horrible smells. But I'm also thinking about the community members who are enduring that. There are communities within 5 miles of this xAI site. Their whole neighborhoods within 5 miles of the xAI site, and they're smelling that every single day. They're taking in those pollutants every single day, and that is not okay. So they're operating those turbines, like I said before, without permits. They have not been punished for it in any way. They're being allowed to continue to operate. And I'm tired of the elected officials here just acting like it's business as usual and not listening to community voice. We don't want this here. We've said it over and over again. And so now we're asking folks to take action with us and pressure them to stop using methane gas turbines on the property. And that starts with calling Mayor Lee Harris. The county mayor, Mayor Lee Harris, his number is 901-222-2000. As a live person at his desk, it's going to be a nice black lady that answers the phone. You can tell her, hey, I'm calling because I want Mayor Lee Harris to instruct the health department to deny the methane gas turbine permits for the xAI property. It's not okay to keep polluting our air, and he needs to take action. She'll take that message for you, and you can call as many times as you like. I called several times yesterday. They're open from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And we're hoping that continuously calling, but also starting to show up, will push them to actually act. Because this entire time, Mayor Lee Harris has sat on the sidelines and done nothing. And it's just not okay. I want to go over one more time what's really at stake here. So we're fighting against massive air pollution, zero transparency, obvious environmental racism, and of course, corporate greed. They have bought another, xAI has bought another 1 million square foot property in South Memphis, Southwest Memphis, with no community input and no public meeting. And that's not okay. And so our very clear demands are for the Shelby County Health Department to deny the permits for xAI to use methane gas on their properties, and for the county commission to pass a resolution requiring the Shelby County Health Department to hold a public meeting to give community members a voice on the issue. If you're here locally in Memphis, we'll be having a fireside chat with Mayor Paul Young and Keyshawn Pearson, who is the president of Memphis Communities Against Pollution, on March 22nd at 2 p.m. at Riverside Baptist Church. You can attend in person, and I encourage folks to show up and ask the hard questions, because the biggest question that people have had is, why aren't communities being listened to? Why weren't we consulted? Why weren't we asked? Like, none of this is fair and none of this is okay. And so we're going to keep pushing for the transparency we deserve. And that starts with us calling the mayor, for one, and then taking action. Some folks in the comments said, my community is impacted by hazardous air pollution and it is very harmful to our health. It is. It's extremely harmful to our health. And the area where this facility is in South Memphis, that has very high elevated asthma rates from very poor air quality. And that's been talked about as well. I want to add one more time on the stage the call to action. And so there are several ways you can take action right now. One, you can email Shelby County commissioners and tell them to listen to community voice and pass the resolution that requires Shelby County Health Department to hold a public community meeting to give community members a voice on the issue. You can send those emails by typing in bit.ly/stop xAI, all lowercase. That's going to take you to our Action Network campaign. You can send those letters to them directly right on the spot. And then you can call Mayor Lee Harris. Honestly, I feel like the calls are the most impactful, to be real, because they need to feel the pressure. Mayor Harris has been sitting on the sidelines this whole time. He needs to feel the pressure of the community. And so we need to call him at 901-222-2000 and tell him to act. And instruct the health department to deny the methane gas permits immediately. Like, that's what they need to do. Actually, I'm going to call them myself so that y'all can see how easy it is, because it's actually very easy. So I'm going to call them. Let's see. We're going to see the answer. They might not answer. It probably means that there's a lot of people calling. So when I called yesterday, it rang for quite a while too. There's only one person at the desk. So if I call and someone else is calling, it's just going to ring for a while. But if she had answered, I would have said, hey, my name is Amber. I'm a local Memphian, and I'm calling because I want Mayor Lee Harris to act and instruct the health department to deny the methane gas turbine permits for the xAI project here in Memphis. I'm not okay with air pollution. I'm not okay with hazardous air pollution happening every single day, 24/7 in our communities. Can you please make sure he gets this message? And is there a better way for me to follow up with him? And she'll provide those options. And then we're also doing some phone banks here in Memphis to call community members and educate them on the xAI project. So you can sign up to volunteer at bit.ly/MCAP volunteer. That's MCAP VOLUNTEER, all lowercase. And you can sign up there. We'll have canvas shifts, phone banks, so many options for you to sign up for. And yeah, those are the ways that you can take action. I really appreciate folks joining while I gave this breakdown of what's happening here in Memphis, what's happening at the xAI site. And thank y'all for joining. And make sure you take action. Make sure you call the mayor.